everyone, I just wanted to go over a couple of things about working with live video in Tahoma. So this could be for rotoscoping, or this could just be for adding animation to be integrated with the video, depending on which approach you've chosen. There are a couple ways that you can get your video into Tahoma. You can certainly just drag or drop it. I actually recommend, though, just right-clicking in whatever cell you're going to be loading into, select Load Level, find your video wherever it's located on the computer, and then this is probably collapsed by default, but you'll notice we have these additional settings here we can actually change for the video. Now, by default, this is actually going to be set to auto for the step and auto for the increment. I'm going to change the step from auto to 1, and I want to have a higher increment. So what this is going to change is, instead of having every single frame, so frame 1, 2, 3, and so on, it's going to have maybe every third frame or every fourth frame. So frame 1, frame 4, frame 7, whatever that happens to be. I'm so not a math person. But it's just going to sort of cut down the number of frames that you're working with. And so that gives you a little bit more of a pixelation sort of feel in the video just to start out with, so it lets it feel just slightly more animated right away. And then it's also going to really cut down the amount of animating that you need to do, whether that's drawing something that's going to be integrated or just doing rotoscoping, and that later on is going to do something different without the video. So I'm going to go with every third frame, but it might be every fourth, it might be every fifth. This is something that you can change later if you realize that it's wrong. So I'm going to start with every third, and I'm going to click on load and then import, so it brings the video into my project. Now, sometimes I actually will move the video into the correct location ahead of time, so I'll go to my project folder and the extras folder, and I'll use Finder to drag and drop my video so that it's already in the right location. And that can actually save some time in this step right now, because it's taking the time to move the file to the new location and load it however we've asked for. Oh, so interesting thing here, we can see that there's a problem with the video. So this happens sometimes when the encoding of the video is not one that Tahoma supports. So that's something that I'm going to want to fix. So actually that's helpful that this happened, because chances are it might happen to some of you if you're working on your computers. Or sorry, not if you're working on your computers. Everyone's working on some sort of computer. But if you are working on videos from your phone, this is a little bit more likely to happen. So I think that it is this video right here that I'm working with, and I have a couple of ways that I can fix this. If I right click on the image, we have an option to encode the video file. So if I head over here, there are some different encodings that I can choose between. H.264 is actually an MP4 encoding, so that's one that's definitely supported. The current encoding is actually probably one of the HEVC encodings, and that's a more modern encoding. So I'm going to go with this mid-size H.264 encoding, and I'm just going to click on continue. So I have this new version of the video here with an encoding that should be supported on the Tahoma side. So I'm going to come over to Tahoma, and I'm just going to right click on the layer header, and I'm going to replace the level with that new version of my video. And I'm going to import it again. It'll take a little bit of time, but now that the encoding is fixed, you can actually see my video, and we can play through and see what it's looking like right now. Now you can see, because I'm only showing every third frame, that the movement is actually pretty fast. So when I'm finished with the animation process, I'm probably going to go through, I'll select my first frame, I'll select my last frame, and I'm probably going to put this on a step of 2. which is going to be a little bit more accurate as far as the movement. Now, you can certainly experiment. Maybe you really do want to show every frame. Maybe you like every fourth frame or every second frame or every third frame, and you like having a step or you don't like having a step. Experiment with what works for you. Now, something else I want to point out is that the level strip, if you take a look over here, has this little icon letting us know that the video isn't editable. And that's normal, and that's actually a good thing because we don't want to be drawing directly on the video. And that's the same if we're rotoscoping or if we're adding animation to the video itself. It's better to do it on a separate layer so that if you end up making a mistake or needing to make changes to something, it'll be significantly easier to do so. It's a bad practice to animate directly on the literal video itself. So if I'm rotoscoping, I may or may not change the camera size to fit the video depending on what I'm planning for the end result and how much I'm going to be tracing. If I'm going to be using this as a video that I'm adding additional animation into, I'm probably going to set the camera settings to use the current level setting so that the aspect ratio is the same there. Again, that's going to vary depending on what your final result is going to need to be. Now, either approach, whether you're rotoscoping or if you are working on integrating animation with the video itself, you're going to want to create another level to actually do any drawing on. And so if I'm rotoscoping, I'm going to be choosing whatever elements I want to trace. Maybe I'm just going to have some lines showing the movement of this one particular fish. And maybe I'm just following this one fish and I'm just getting the movement, and maybe I'll draw my own fish on top of that later on. So this might just get me the very starting movement of whatever is going on. And maybe what I'm drawing right now, maybe it's just going to be some sort of underdrawing, and maybe I'm going to have something completely different on top of this later. So hopefully that'll be enough to get you all started. Oh, I do want to mention one other technique for fixing the video format. So again, with Finder, if you right click on the video, you should have this encode option down here towards the bottom. If it's not there, you can just double click on the video to open it in the QuickTime player. And then in the QuickTime file menu, you can export into one of these different sizes here, and that will also export it into a format with an encoding that Tahoma supports. So I think either of these three middle options should be totally fine as far as that goes. Again, you can experiment with what is working best for you. All right, I hope everything goes really well. Have a great day, everyone.